It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies charge a boatload for their superior network coverage. But guess what? Straight Talk uses the same cell towers but charges a lot less. Who knew? Well, now you do. And I do. So let's do something. It's time to switch to Straight Talk. Unlimited plans start as low as $35 a month on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
My face hurts. My eyes are red from tears. Stugotz was a star in the last hour of the show. We do a local hour before we go national here. Today on the show, we got Method Man, Bill Burr, and Diplo. I love how eclectic our guest list is today. But if you're just joining us, Stugotz has spent like the last 30 minutes, it went in this order, scamming, lying, and then giving away ice cream heroically, free good humor ice cream heroically away on 10th and Ocean here. To passersby and to tour buses, and it was magical. He's sweaty now, but what I wanted to ask you, Mike, is I do think there is a bit in the middle of giving away free ice cream. Stugotz also sold an ice cream, or he sold 3 ice creams for $1. Yep. Said it was for charity. Just scams and lies, and so now he has $1 that to pay for, at the bucket of death. I like the idea of a bit Stugotz door-to-door salesman. How do we get Stugotz on camera trying to sell stuff door-to-door? Because he's very good at it. He is shameless. Mm-hmm. And how do we do this, Mike? Can we just do this around this neighborhood, like in apartments, where Stugotz, we just mic him up and we have him go try and sell something like ice cream?
I could sell anything. I feel like if I have 5 minutes with someone, if they don't close the door on me quickly, which I'm very good at, if you give me 5 minutes, I'll eventually get the sale.
This is what I am telling you. What we just did, where can people get it, Mike, on the podcast? Give them all the places, iTunes and everywhere else. Give
Wherever you can find podcasts, ESPN app, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts if you haven't yet, and leave us a 5-star review. Tune in, Slacker. There's all sorts of places you can listen to us digitally. We hope, I know cameras were on Stugotz as he made this adventure, so hopefully, I know it's going to be a tough edit, we can get this out on Twitter and let the nation see what happened on the local hour.
It was amazing, and what I wanted to say is I really do believe that there is a show based on the last 5 minutes of Stugotz's Shameless America, where he does the things that Marty Smith does on camera, because he's unusually comfortable on camera, Stugotz is. But he's also dirty and slimy and likable, so it's a totally different kind of Marty Smith.
How'd I pull that off?
I don't know. I'm very confused by it. It's genius.
Thanks.
So Stugotz's America would go through more back alleys and would just have dirtier stuff in it. Marty's would be, you would immediately make Marty's Smith's America the less dangerous show. You would immediately usurp him because you would be the edgy show, and then all of a sudden you'd be able to look through your rearview mirror at crushing Marty Smith's America because it's too damn wholesome. And people want something dirtier, something jagged.
I'm their guy.
Real America.
That was a lot of fun, and thank you to many of the listeners who showed up to get their free ice cream. I was going to say purchase. I should have sold all of it, but
yes,
I didn't. But
yeah, we thought of that too late.
Yeah.
But yes, morning ice cream is hard to give away, but because not a lot of people want at 10 o'clock in the morning ice cream. In fact, put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Have you ever had ice cream at 10 a.m.? Is that something you've ever done in your life? Guillermo right now is eating a toasted almond bar.
Oh, those are so good.
But is that something you've ever done in your life? Which way do you think that one's coming back?
I would say better than 50% of the people who will vote have had ice cream at 10 a.m. Yes.
What I wanted to ask you, sports related, because in the middle of all that, Mike Ryan was giving takes that John Wall is the fastest player he's ever seen on a basketball court. I wanted to buck on that, but I'm not sure I can. I don't know who I would nominate.
Westbrook.
Westbrook's in the
conversation.
Fast, yeah. Iverson, I guess, would be in the conversation.
Yeah, I would say on a pro basketball court, it's hard to stick out with your speed at that level. I saw Ty Lawson in college, and to me that was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in terms of speed.
I think most people, though, listening right now would say that Russell Westbrook is faster than John Wall. I don't know if they've probably tested that, haven't they? They've got to be the two fastest players in the NBA. But what I wanted to ask you about is I keep seeing here news reports on everything that happened with Joe Girardi. And now the Steinbrenners are being quoted as saying that this guy, who's got like the best managerial record in the last 10 years, who consistently overachieves with teams that aren't expected to do anything, consistently meets expectations. You can make the argument without much dilution that the best manager in the sport the last 10 years has been Joe Girardi. And he lost his job, and Hal Steinbrenner said, it's not about the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's about the last 2 or 3 years. He put that in quotes, and he also said, we might have made a change even if he had won the World Series.
Wow.
And so what I want to ask you is, who's the greatest diva in management history? Because this guy is clearly great, and he was fired after winning Manager of the Year with the Marlins. And now the Yankees are telling you, we don't care how much he wins, please leave. The last 2-3 years have been really unpleasant. And so who else is management diva? Because if it happens twice to you, you may be really good, but there's something happening with management there that's weird. Because normally if you win like Girardi has, you almost have a lifetime job if you do what he's done for 10 years.
Right. Did a great job with the Marlins. Won Manager of the Year with the Marlins, right? Won a World Series with the Yankees, and just took the Yankees to the ALCS with a team that was not expected to get to the ALCS.
How about Larry Brown? One of the greatest coaches we've ever seen.
That's a good one.
Been in a million places.
That's a great one. He was a total nomad. It's weird, though, because are people blaming Girardi? Is there a conversation happening around, you've got a temperamental management type? You can't, or are you blaming the Marlins, history of ineptitude, and Yankees being Yankees in management, the Steinbrenners fire managers? It's what they do. I can't believe that Steinbrenner's putting his name on.
Right.
This is about the last 2 or 3 years, not the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we could have won the title and made a change. Like, that is one last punctuation of, hey, this is on Girardi, not us.
But don't you think it has to be on Girardi? When you consider the Marlins fired him after winning Manager of the Year, and the Yankees at Steinbrenner just said what they just said, it has to be Girardi, right?
I'd love to know what the specifics are. I can't take a side. I just find the whole thing kind of befuddling, and I'd like to know the specifics on what is Girardi doing that is making management types say, we don't care how much you win, get out of here.
When it comes to the Marlins situation, when he was fired after winning Manager of the Year nationally, that was just the Marlins screwing that up.
Yeah, but was it? You know what I mean? He won Manager of the Year, and now in retrospect, yes, it happens once, and that could be the Marlins screwing up. It happens twice, and you're like, wait a minute, what's this guy doing in private?
Right.
Because I've always thought of Joe Girardi as nothing but maximum professional. Dry, boring, but stand by his players, max professional. What is he doing in private?
Don't know, but it's twice. That's the thing, right? Because a lot of people are texting in Jim Harbaugh, and that did kind of happen in San Francisco, but it's only happened to him once. He did a whole bunch of winning. People thought he was the best coach in the NFL, and Trent Baalke wanted him out of there.
Mm-hmm. And that one felt like we sided with Harbaugh on it. But if he went somewhere else, won somewhere else, and then all of a sudden got ousted as well, you'd be like, wait a minute. What the hell is Harbaugh doing in the shadows? And it may be something here. Like what I think, I have not talked to anybody about this, but if I had to take a guess, my guess would be that what is happening there is that Girardi is so pro player that Girardi ceases to be a management guy, company guy, and turns it into, this is our locker room against even you, the guys who pay my salary. We are one unit, and my guess is he thinks that that's the way to get to winning. My guess is that he thinks that ultimately he's always going to get fired because he's always going to create the community in the locker room that's bleep everybody. Bleep management, bleep everybody. This is us against them. He probably makes a causation correlation thing between, and because I've done it that way, I've always succeeded.
But he's justified in saying that, right? He has succeeded.
Well, I don't know if, yes, he has succeeded. I don't know if that's the reason he's succeeded. I think it might be the reason he thinks he's succeeded.
He had a pretty good team when he won the World Series.
Yes,
he did. No, he did. But he didn't have listen, he had a team that was expected to be good 2 or 3 years from now, and they were a round away from making it to the World Series this year. And that Marlin team wasn't very good when he won Manager of the Year. I don't know which it is. It's interesting. That's an interesting one there. But clearly he's not a good person.
Okay, very good.
Don Le Batard.
Stugotz lies so much, and he doesn't take inventory of his lies, that even when he's telling the truth, we don't believe him on anything. What's wrong, Stugotz? What are you objecting to?
I mean, listen, I've done this to myself, so I'm frustrated at myself. I'm not going to lash out elsewhere because I understand why everyone would think that I was the one who did this. But I am sitting here telling you guys that I did not do it.
Stugotz.
You absolutely took a bite out of a piece of pizza and put it back with the rest of the pizza.
It was me.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
If you are late to the Joel Embiid, what are we calling him? Web Embiid. If you're late to that party, this guy is beginning to look like Shaquille O'Neal with a three-pointer.
Yeah, he was pretty incredible last night. They were a fun team. I watched the first half of that game, and he had 46 points and 15 rebounds and 7 assists and 7 blocks, and he was 2 or 3 from 3. I watched that entire game. He's fantastic. I'm not certain Ben Simmons isn't better.
I have never seen someone built like that who can do all of that.
It's crazy.
I'm saying I've never seen it in the history of watching human beings bounce a basketball. Someone at that size and that frame who can play like a guard on occasion. I cannot wait to see what this sport is going to look like in 150 years. I'm not. Yeah, we're going to make an app that allows me to live 50 more years, or I'm going to get bitten by Patino. Either way, if I could just see what basketball looks like 150 years from now, because Kevin Garnett was the first extraterrestrial I saw where I was like, how does all of that work, where he can be that long?
Right.
He can meet a guard at half court and spread his wingspan, and the guard can't really come in, and he's got all sorts of deft touch. And then Dirk Nowitzki came and did some of the same things.
But this is different. Embiid is different for you than Giannis? Because Giannis is like a guard out there.
No,
it's weird.
The reason it's different for me is because Giannis can't outstrong everybody.
Right.
This guy can outstrong everybody. Like, he's doing those things what he did last night to me is just the beginning of this rise if he stays healthy. If Embiid stays healthy, he's going to go down as one of the top 5 basketball players you've ever seen. Like, that's what we're looking at, because it's unfair. When do you ever watch an NBA basketball game and you're saying to yourself, Shaq was the only other time I thought it to myself. LeBron, some. I do it with LeBron as well, but where I'm like, that's not fair. No one can stop that. Like, at least with LeBron, I did it less because he does things from the perimeter and he's got to make the shots. Shaq was just backing everyone down, and, centers are hanging from his ears like earrings.
Just so powerful,
yes.
Yes.
It's like, how if you're 100 pounds less strong than that, what are you supposed to do? This is something totally different. He can do that, and he can beat you from the perimeter.
Yeah, and he's got the frame, but he's built into his frame. Durant's got some of that alien side too, but he's not going to muscle you down.
Right. This is bigger, stronger, thicker. Durant. It's not really that, because he's not that good from the perimeter. He's not that good from the perimeter.
Durant's his own special kind of alien.
Well, I don't even know who would be better, though. Like, who? This is the question that I would ask you, and I don't think it's a ridiculous one to ask. By the time it's over, who's going to have had the better career? Embiid or Durant? Because
wow,
yes, because
I think Durant.
I think Durant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even really thinking that hard about it. And recently, Durant's learned how to play interior defense.
You're saying both stay healthy. Is that what you're saying? You're giving Embiid health.
Yes, of course. There. I'm giving Embiid health.
Okay,
of course.
Yeah, I'd still go Durant.
Yeah, that's an all-world scoring ability.
Okay. I think what you're about to see is Embiid. What I'm telling you is, I think what you're about to see is Embiid grow into that. He is a novice. He is doing this very raw. Kevin Durant is great. He's done with the growing of any kind. Embiid is not. Like, I think that you might want to get used to those stat lines. Read that stat line again from last night, because Durant can do some of this. He can't do all of this.
46 points, 14 of 20, by the way, from the field, 16 of 19 from the free throw line, 2 of 3 from 3, 46 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 blocks. How about get a steal?
There's a great stat that I saw. Chris Cody shared it with me. Joel Embiid has scored 78 points at Staples Center this year. Lonzo Ball has scored 52 at Staples Center this year.
Mike, when you dismiss the idea, because I know it's very dismissible, the idea of me asking about Embiid versus Durant, when you dismiss that, do you think Durant is a top 5 basketball player of all time? Because I'm talking about putting somebody here with Wilt, with Shaq, with Kareem. Like, I'm talking about the stratosphere.
I hope you know that I'm not trying to come off as dismissive.
No, but I think most people are going to think that what I'm saying is absurd and that you're saying the proper rational thing. But I'm saying that if Embiid stays healthy, I don't think that stat line is going to be any kind of aberration.
I mean, dude, Durant's unprecedented.
So's this, though, Mike.
This guy's a 7-footer that's throwing up daggers in your face. Mm-hmm. That's one of the premier scorers in the league. If it were not for LeBron, we'd be talking about Durant as LeBron.
Oh, man, though, Embiid is such a physical presence on the defensive end that Durant is not. Like, Embiid is the guy.
Durant's really improved.
But it's hard to imagine it, Dan. It's hard to see Embiid like that in 5 or 6 years. You might be right. We already have a body of work with Kevin Durant.
You realize that the only thing that will save this league over the next couple of years of competitive balance is if what I'm saying is so, which is that Joel Embiid himself can hold back all of this small ball. Joel Embiid himself, with Ben Simmons, can hold back all of this small ball and say, okay, you're going to do it with the small dudes. We're going to do all that with dudes. We've got our own Durant-sized person. He plays point guard for us. That's Ben Simmons.
Yes, he's 6'10".
And now what we're also going to do is we're not playing with Pachulia. No, we're going at you with Shaq. We've got the guy who plays like Durant in Ben Simmons.
And they've got a great supporting cast, man. I'm telling you, like, J.J. Redick's on that team, and he's a good shooter, obviously.
Oh, no, but
Covington's a very good player.
That's what I'm telling you is watch that team over the coming years, because with those two guys, any supporting cast is going to look good. Any supporting cast will grow into that. Embiid and Simmons can go right now and 3 years from now be thinking we are going to go get that thing that Golden State has. And we have rightfully earned our place in this league, because if those guys stay healthy, man, that team's going to be really good for a long time. And Sam Hinkie is going to be unemployed that entire time.
Money, 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 money.
I mean, Embiid just needs a single ring to pass Durant. It does. I mean, because Durant hasn't won a championship in my personal record book. So if Embiid wins one, because if Durant wins and only wins with Golden State in my personal record book, he will never have an NBA title. So Embiid just needs to win one, and then he's better than Kevin Durant. You're right, Dan.
Dan Le Batard.
Do you go to the supermarket at all, Dan?
I do. I go to, yes, I do.
Whole Foods or something? Yeah,
I have a lot of difficulty picturing Dan pushing his shopping cart.
Yeah, he's a handbasket guy.
Stugotz.
No way it's a cart.
Yeah, no.
There's no way it's a cart.
I'd be so shocked. I'd be less shocked if Dan was riding a burro.
No, if he goes shopping cart, he's at the front of it pulling it, not at the back of it.
Really?
If he's doing it, it's not the traditional way.
Right, he's not two hands. He's not two hands on the handle.
Yeah, he's in front of it and he's dragging it behind him.
Yeah, as he's picking out stuff. Yeah.
I have Mike pushing the cart and Dan just going down the aisle.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I have what Mike Ryan is calling a world record Stugotz contradiction in our possession. We will get to that in a moment. A world record Stugotz contradiction.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Associated Press has obtained a letter sent by the NFL to Jerry Jones' attorney accusing him of conduct detrimental to the league's best interest over his objection to a contract extension for Commissioner Roger Goodell. Zeke Elliott has withdrawn the appeal of his 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. He has served one game already.
I think those two things are connected, by the way. Bleep it. I'm not fighting anybody. Jerry, you got this.
He'll return Week 16 against the Seahawks. And finally, Hunter S. Thompson pranked Jack Nicholson on his birthday by shining a spotlight on his house, blasting a recording of a pig being eaten alive by bears, firing his pistol, and leaving an elk's heart at the front door while Nicholson and his 2 daughters hid in the basement.
That's so many drugs, man. We need a drug journalist doing gonzo journalism in 2017.
This Sports Center is brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, the holiday challenge is here. Get everything on your list for less than you think. Refresh your holiday wardrobe with 60% off men's sports coats, top coats, and dress pants starting at just $23.99. Hurry in, JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
We got a good guest list today. Method Man is going to join us. He's on a run here. He's crushed Colin Cowherd 5 straight weeks, I think, now. He didn't really crush him last week. He just tied him. But if you don't lose to him, you get to keep coming back. Bill Burr going to join us, and Diplo is going to join us. Is he the most famous DJ going, Mike? Is he the biggest in the world still? He was at one time. Is he still?
Certainly one of the more famous DJs and producers, legendary producer before he gained popularity with Major Lazer.
We will get to the contradiction that Stugotz, that Mike Ryan is claiming is a world record contradiction for Stugotz in a second. We're going to do the bucket of death in 30 minutes today. We're going to do it today. That's right, because we're changing around on television here over the next couple of days. We're going to be on ESPNU for a little bit here, but then we go to ESPN News later in the day, and then we're off on some places tomorrow because of...
we're off tomorrow because of the college basketball marathon. So for those that DVR the show on ESPNU, we want to make sure that you guys get the bucket of death. So we'll do that at 11 today. And by the way, I know we changed from ESPNU to ESPN News mid-show today. If you want, you can always check out the ESPN app, and you can catch our simulcast now on demand. It goes up on there immediately following the conclusion of our live shows.
I saw on the television, on First Take, that they've got Dante Jones coming up in studio. And when I think Dante Jones, I think I have this, Mike. I think I have this right. Fats and Info, I need you to look it up for me. I think Dante Jones, after all of the fines that he incurred, I'm not making this number up, I think he earned $127 for last year's playoffs. I think it's some ridiculous number like that. So just Google search Dante Jones, because when I do word association, the first thing I think of is Dante Jones was on that Cavs team, and Dante Jones accrued so much fine money that what he made for either the playoffs or the season, was it the playoffs or the season?
This is a tweet from Brian Windhorst that went up on June 9th, 2017. Dante Jones' playoff fines are now up to $9,000. His season salary was $9,127.
That's funny.
Awesome.
But LeBron James did step in, very nice guy, and paid his fines in the past, and it looked like he took care of them there.
All right, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Did you know that Dante Jones made $127 last season?
That's a bargain.
I mean, the number of things that you can't get for $127. Like, can you get a mattress for $127?
A mattress? What are you, out of your mind?
I'm just saying, no, the cheapest of mattresses.
There goes a guy that's never shopped for his own mattress.
I'm talking about the cheapest of mattresses. What's the cheapest of mattresses?
You can get a piece of cardboard, I guess.
You guys are telling me that there is not a mattress that can be bought anywhere at wearecrappymattresses.com for under $127?
I got one right now. It's a Sealy. It's $149.97. So I guess you can.
I mean, I wasn't saying like a high-end mattress, man. You jackals attacked me very quickly. Like, you guys were ready to go at elitism. Hey, Levitard, you've never bought a mattress before. And I'm like, whoa.
I found an inflatable mattress for $199. So that's a little more.
Huh. I got a Slumber spring mattress for $109 right now.
The least surprising thing is that Dan has no idea what the market is for mattresses.
No, wait a minute. You're going to become entrenched on this position? That's not fair to me. You're going to accuse me of elitism.
Just because you don't sleep on a mattress and a bed of your own money.
I do,
doesn't
but
excuse
that's
you.
just a personal preference of mine because, my back needs to be reminded of how much money I have. So Method Man's going to join us at 11:30, Bill Burr at 12 Eastern, and Diplo at 12:30. And Jerry Jones and the NFL continue to fight in a way that is really public. And I'm just curious, Stugotz, like these two people, Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell, for a long time have worked together with the idea of the image of the league matters. We have to project a positive image. And both of them right now are fighting in a way over a contract extension that is unbelievably publicly unseemly. Like fighting over this amount of money, having these details in the press. Jerry Jones is fighting dirty. And I can't believe that this is happening in front of us.
It's great that you have Goodell accusing Jerry Jones of conduct detrimental to the league over his contract extension. That is just, it is so rich. That is so funny, man.
You also have
Jerry, that letter comes from Goodell, right?
That's right. Yes. But it is conduct detrimental to the league. It is. But how does Roger Goodell feel? Like he's been checkmated as he or his people are typing up that letter, now we got to sue him back. And I got to accuse him of conduct detrimental because why? Because he's saying I'm paid too much. Like he boxed him. Jerry Jones boxed him in where he now has to protect going after his contract extension.
It's a great move by Jerry.
I wish that his football team was this interesting. Like, I know they've been good,
right?
But I wish that we had these power struggles throughout. Now, what's Jerry going to do next? There's just no way that this is Jerry's last move. Now, I really do feel like this is just getting started. Like, this is not the end of this. This is the beginning of it.
You can't envision Jerry just backing down and saying, all right, let's just give the guy
No. This is what I can envision Jerry doing. I don't think there's anything illegal about this. Like private investigators, all that stuff. Like, did you see the lengths that Weinstein was going to try to cover his track? Like, the way rich people do things, like consulting with Israeli intelligence and just hiring all of these shadowy underworld people. Like, at midnight, when Johnny Walker Blue is deep in his system. Like, who is Jerry Jones calling to do what? Like,
to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Woo! It's a little late for Jerry Jones to have the Johnny Walker Blue deep in his system. I feel it's like noon, maybe. I think he's firing it up right now.
I'm just saying, I am so here for the fight that involves Jerry Jones, Johnny Walker Blue, rich people, shadowy underworld things, because there's no way that this just ends with Goodell wrote a letter to Jerry. Jerry's like taking his shirt off right now, his tie. He's like, oh, really? You got a letter. Sally, he's slapping somebody on the behind, male or female, his daughter or his son, somebody, calling him Sally. Give me my cowboy hat, some more blue, and ways to bury Roger.
Sally.
Don Le Batard.
I feel terrible.
Here's the thing with you. You don't actually feel terrible.
I didn't feel a thing, to be honest with you. I don't really care.
I know. You announcing I feel terrible is just your way to move on to the next terrible thing you're going to do.
Stugotz.
They're just words, and words mean nothing to you.
They don't mean nothing. His words mean nothing.
Words are just transitions to your next lie.
That's so right. They're not words. They are bridges to lies.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Now you talk about, and I know you're not, I'm not accusing you of saying that you're okay. I know you're not saying it's okay. But in the process of acknowledging them, you bring up Steve Alford and what he could have done. Why are the games being played in China? Which, by the way, is a basketball haven in this day and age. That would have a lot to do with why basketball is being played. Instead of getting down to the nitty-gritty. This wasn't just stupid. It also was not a mistake. They didn't just steal from one store. They tried tried to steal from 3 of them. They were caught on camera trying to steal shades from a Louis Vuitton store, and you coming up with all of this. Let me tell you something. At the end,
they shoplifted sunglasses.
From multiple stores. So in the end, what it comes down to is that it wasn't a mistake. If these guys were in a place like Saudi Arabia, they cut off your hand, bro. They cut off your hand. And all I'm saying is this. These are not children. Oh, we heard you. You know for a fact that you're going to another country. You know for a fact that the rules are different. You know for a fact that you are representing not just yourself, but the institution you represent, which is UCLA. And you did it anyway. As far as I'm concerned, at least half the season. Yeah. At least half the season, if not a full season. It's that simple. I don't want to hear stuff about
the NCAA. Will, I'll let you go. I just want to say something quick. I want to make...
excellent timing there, Mike.
So good. They're teenagers. They made a mistake.
Yeah, but I will say this, though. It is one of the dumbest mistakes I've ever seen in the history of covering sports.
Okay,
yes.
But I'm with Max. I agree with you, Dan, but I also agree with Max. They are teenagers.
Yes,
I think we're overreacting a little bit.
Agreed. Again, though, yes, they're teenagers. Yes, it's a mistake. Yes, you know me to not usually rain down judgment on the mistake maker.
Right.
Also, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It can be all of those things.
I guess it can.
I can't believe that they thought that it would be a good idea in China to do that.
Well, I don't think when they thought about it, they weren't thinking about getting caught. They were thinking about getting away with it.
I know, but the not measuring of consequences in these instances is intergalactically stupid when you're in China.
And teenagers do stupid things occasionally.
Okay, do them in this country. We know what the laws are that you're breaking. And don't do them even if you said they had done that in America, I wouldn't be saying it's as stupid.
I totally agree with you.
You created an international incident with your stupidity.
The president had to step in.
An international incident with your stupidity. Not a national incident.
Yes.
An international one. And now Stephen A. Smith is on television talking about Saudi Arabia's laws and how they could have lost their hands and played the rest of their lives with nubs. It could have been a career ender.
Love Max's response to that. Well, it didn't happen there, Stephen A.
Right. That's not where it happened.
By the way, President Trump tweeted wondering if those kids would thank him, and those kids did thank him, and he returned their thank you tweet with giving them some life advice. It was very funny. The highs and lows of life and the traps and all that kind of stuff.
Life lessons
from President Trump. Yes.
Life lesson number 1, when you do a kind thing, make sure to immediately go to Twitter and demand thanks for it. It's the nature of gift giving. Let's go ahead and get to this world record Stugotz contradiction. Are you ready for it? Everybody stand back. Mike Ryan is claiming this is a world record. Stand back and marvel in awe.
Pretty incredible last night. I watched the first half of that game, and he had 46 points and 15 rebounds and 7 assists and 7 blocks, and he was 2 of 3 from 3. I watched that entire game. He's fantastic. I'm not certain Ben Simmons isn't better.
Okay, what happened there? Why I watched the half of the game to 2 or 3 sentences later, I watched the entire game. Everybody stand back again and let's marvel at it because it's Stugotz in full glory. Never mind measuring consequences in China. Stugotz doesn't remember what he said 2 phrases ago.
Pretty incredible last night. I watched the first half of that game, and he had 46 points and 15 rebounds and 7 assists and 7 blocks, and he was 2 of 3 from 3. I watched that entire game. He's fantastic. I'm not certain Ben Simmons.
You are Trump.
Yeah.
The whole thing was that was amazingly the Trump cadence, like on everything. He's fantastic. I'm very good friends with him. He's a good friend.
Pretty incredible last night. I watched the first half of that game, and he had 46 points and 15 rebounds and 7 assists and 7 blocks, and he was 2 of 3 from 3. I watched that entire game. He's fantastic. I'm not certain Ben Simmons isn't better. I didn't watch a single second of that game.
You can always count on Bud Light, just like you can always count on Tailgate Terry. Without Tailgate Terry, you wouldn't have cold Bud Lights and 7-layer dip at every pregame. That's 56 layers per season. Just the right amount if you ask Terry. Tailgate Terry is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, 80 St. Louis, Missouri.